Hi everyone. I want to welcome you to a new thing I'm starting with Yoga for Normal People, and it's geared around the practice of meditation. As we know, meditation practices have really taken off. There are tons of apps and tons of podcasts and audio stuff that you can listen to, but I thought I would start offering sort of simple meditations that we can do on a daily basis. So this will be a weekly offering, and I hope you'll join me to sit. Now, you'll notice that I am sitting on a meditation cushion. You can always sit on the floor. You can always sit on your mat. You can always sit up on a blanket. I'm also sitting actually on a little bolster. So that pillow is underneath my pelvis. And we'll use this same setup pretty much every time, unless, of course, you want to take a posture that might suit you better, which could be laying down. It could be propped up in bed, just depending on sort of what time of day you're listening to this. And our first meditation is going to focus on dealing with exactly where we are. So if you've been faced with some struggles in the last couple weeks or the last couple days, whether it's work related or home related, health related, whatever the case may be, and you found yourself feeling stuck or struggling to kind of move through that experience, this meditation is for you. So all you're going to need is yourself. A pair of headphones would be great if that suits you, or if you want to listen just on whatever device you're choosing to use to tune in to Yoga for Normal People. Please go ahead and just set that up someplace close. And since this is a video meditation, you will have to keep that laptop or your iPad or your phone kind of awake, although the video playing should do that. But you can also just turn the brightness down so that the screen is maybe dark, or you can turn your phone or your device over so that it is facing down as we meditate. And outside of that, the goal here is to find a comfortable place to be in your body, whatever you're dealing with. So I like to sit on top of a cushion, like I mentioned. I've also been known to grab one of my blocks and sit on that, or kneel. And it's a little cool in my house this morning, so I have lots of layers on. I like to layer up when I meditate, mostly because your body temperature tends to go down, because your body is being calmed and your breath is lowering, your heart rate is lowering. So if you're like me, I have socks and pants and a sweater or a wrap. I also kind of like to have stuff over my shoulders when I meditate, because for some reason my shoulders do get kind of cold. So before we get started, just make whatever necessary adjustments you might need. And then just come into whatever comfortable pose suits you today. And once you've come into that comfortable pose, if you're sitting or leaning back or lying down, go ahead and start just by raising those shoulders up towards your ears, scrunching those trapezius muscles, those upper shoulder muscles up tight, and then releasing them down your back. Just a really simple little shoulder roll. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale to lift up. And exhale, sigh out, and drop those shoulders down. A lot of times when we're feeling stuck or we're feeling trapped by something that has happened in our lives, we often carry all that in our shoulders. And then you can place your hands on your body, or I like to stack my hands in my lap, just kind of palm to the back of my hand. You can switch whichever side feels right. I like to put my left hand underneath and my right hand on top, mostly because I'm right hand dominant and I just like to have that hand closer. And there's no right or wrong way to do this, so whatever feels good with your hands for right now, since we're just starting out. And then you can start to close your eyes or soften your gaze. If you're not comfortable closing your eyes, you can always lower your gaze to the floor. You can, watch the video. You can just kind of zone out if that feels right. And then once you close your eyes or soften your gaze, what I'd like you to do is start by noticing the physical body. Now, sometimes Noticing your physical body, noticing your physical space can kind of cause a little discomfort, right? So if you're dealing with pain, if you're dealing with whether that's emotional or mental or physical pain, notice what that feels like. Don't try to push it away. Don't try to change it. Just take a moment to drop in and acknowledge what's going on. And here, once you've noticed what's going on, just start to notice the places where your body connects to the support beneath you. If that's beneath your legs, beneath your pelvis, maybe you feel the sensation of support beneath your back if you're lying down. But just see if you can send your attention to those spots. And if you need to make any kind of last minute moves, any kind of wiggles, any kind of adjustment to your seating position like I am, I'm gonna adjust myself just a little bit here. You don't always get the meditation seat right on the first go. So just kind of wiggle around until you find a place where you can kind of hang out and be still. We won't be here long. And that's part of the noticing of the physical body. If you notice that your physical body is uncomfortable and you can do something to change it, feel free to go ahead and do that. And once you've made any sort of adjustments or itched or wiggled, fidgeted, go ahead and come back to stillness. Stack your hands on your body or let your hands rest in your lap. And once your physical body has kind of calmed down and settled into that shape, go ahead and take your attention just a little bit deeper. And by deeper, what I mean is pay attention to the breath, the air moving in and moving out. And just notice what the quality of your breath is like right now, what that feels like, what that sounds like, what that sensation is like. And if you have sounds in your room or outside like I do that may be distracting, maybe drawing your attention or drawing your ire more than that, especially if we're feeling stuck or trapped, little things can really set us off. Just notice if that comes into your awareness. Notice if that takes you away from tuning into your breath. Just take a few deep breaths here. We're going to do a couple of little breathing exercises to kind of just tune in a little bit deeper to our breath. So one of my favorites for reducing any kind of tension or stress is what I call straw breath. My teacher in Austin taught me this. And what you're going to do is you're going to inhale and you're going to exhale out through pursed lips, like you're blowing out through a straw. And then you're going to inhale and blow out through pursed lips. And you're going to inhale one last time. And exhale out, blow out through pursed lips. And then just let your breath return to normal. And what I'd like you to do is notice how your exhale has softened. Notice how that exhale maybe is a little bit longer, a little bit less restricted, a little bit softer in your chest and your shoulders. And notice if anything kind of draws your attention, if it's sound, if it's pain, if it's sensation, if it's a feeling that comes up. Notice if anything sort of takes you away from that breath experience. And as you breathe, what I'd like you to do is just go a little deeper into your awareness, into your attention, and see if you can pinpoint a place in your body where you feel that stuckness, that trapped feeling, that sensation of struggle or strife or discomfort that perhaps has led you to seek out this practice. And notice if it's lodged somewhere in your physical body. For me, that feeling of stuckness tends to get at me right at my solar plexus, so like right at the base of where my rib cage and my belly meet. It restricts my breath. It doesn't so much feel painful, but it feels tense and tight, like a knot resting there. And I'm intentionally drawing your awareness to this sensation, wherever it may lodge in your body, because what I'd like you to do is see if you can find a place along the very edges of that where you can soften just a little bit. Maybe you can let go, maybe you can stop that tension. Maybe you can just soften with your breath. And as you breathe, if you need to return to that straw breath to sort of blow out any of that heat, that pain, that tension, that stress, you can always return to it. So for me, I am feeling it in an acute way. So I'm going to take a deep breath in. I'm going to exhale out through pursed lips. And imagine that as I'm exhaling out through pursed lips, I'm blowing away that sensation. I'm physically clearing the air around that stuckness. And even if you're not moving, even if you're lying down, even if you're sitting still, you're still working to push that sensation away, to just clear the air around it. And if you need to take a couple of breaths, if you need to take a couple of moments here to just focus on that exhale, focus on lengthening out through those pursed lips, go ahead and do that. And if you feel like you need to make any kind of audible sound as you breathe, feel free to sigh out with sound. Sound can be really supportive, it can be really healing, it can be really expressive, especially when you feel stuck, when you feel like you have no control, like you can't do anything to change the sensation in your body or the circumstances that you're currently working with. Take a deep breath in and just sigh it out, blow it out. Do that one more time. And then once again, return your attention back to sort of the fringes of that sensation and where it's living in your body, where it's taken residence up. And notice how maybe those edges are just a little bit softer. Maybe just a touch less intense. Maybe that stuck feeling is a little bit smaller. And as you continue to focus on that spot, like I said, mine lodges up underneath my rib cage, right by my diaphragm, making it hard to sort of breathe, feeling sticky. And for me, I generally associate the color sort of yellow or orange with that feeling, this sort of gripping and holding that I get. And to counterbalance that color, if you have a color that's associated with that sensation in your body, imagine something that would be cooling. So for me, that's going to be a yellow or a green light that will sort of softly encompass that yellow space. So really it's more of like a green-blue light overlaying the yellow-orange color with a little bit of softness, a little bit of tenderness, cooling the flame of that fire, cooling the heat, allowing it to soften, allowing it to shrink a little bit. So as you breathe in, what I'd like you to do is imagine that you're breathing in whatever color light that counterbalances the color you associate with being stuck. So if you need warm light, imagine reds and yellows and oranges. If you need cooling light, imagine greens, blues, purples. And just take a deep breath in like you're breathing that light in, and as you exhale out, allow any of that tension, that stuckness, to just dissipate with your breath. So breathing in your counterbalancing color, and breathing out that sense of stuckness, that sense of trapped. Allow your breath to soften into it and deepen. Allow your breath to just massage that spot. Like you're working on a sore muscle, perhaps. Like you're working on a spot that needs a little bit of tender love and care and needs a little bit of awareness. And we'll take 2 more breaths just like that, sending that color sensation down into the space where we feel that stuck experience. And notice that as you spend a little bit of time with feeling stuck, there may be a little bit of sadness that comes up. Maybe it's sadness at missed opportunities. Maybe it's sadness at just the circumstances that you find yourself in. Maybe it's sadness at timing. Maybe it's sadness at simply feeling like the world is unfair. You're not alone in feeling that sensation. You're not alone in feeling that experience. It's something that's universal for all human beings. I imagine even animals feel frustrated. But if there's sadness that is welling up, that is coming up around this feeling of being stuck, acknowledge it, let it come. So often we do our best to kind of downplay any kind of sadness, right? Downplay any kind of emotional upheaval that we may be experiencing. Mostly for the fear that it makes others uncomfortable. But since this is a personal and private practice, since it is just you and this recording and no one is watching, no one is listening, this is your space to let those feelings come to the surface. Allow what is ever coming up for you, whether it is sadness, whether it is frustration, whether it is a sense of loss, perhaps, that comes up around feeling stuck. Allow that to come up. And as you breathe out, allow it to wash through you. Allow it to move through you. Let that soft breath just ease any kind of discomfort that is arising in your body. Allow your senses to maybe drift once the intensity of the experience is past. Because the one thing we do know about any kind of emotions that come up, any kind of stuckness, right, is that time moves forward. Every moment reality is shifting. Every moment it's changing. There are things that are happening in the universe that are shifting and moving. Whether we can see it or not in our own lives, that stuckness isn't actually part of a reality. There is movement constantly happening in our bodies, in our minds, in our lives, in our circumstances. In spite of feeling stuck, which is largely based in a space where we're frustrated, where we have expectations that haven't been met, where we've been disappointed, where perhaps we have struggled and maybe fallen flat on our faces. But every step in a certain direction, every moment that passes, every breath is changing things for us. It is unsticking us. It is moving us forward and moving us through this experience and this sensation. And know that whatever has come up with intensity will diminish. It will move. There is hope that this will change. And that in and of itself is a gift. That in and of itself is something that is so invaluable as we move through difficult, sticky, tough places to be. I often joke that a lot of the teachings that I offer are rooted in my own lived experiences, that yoga teachers are ultimately selfish. We teach what we're dealing with. So know that if you've come to this feeling stuck, feeling trapped, you are not alone. I am sitting right here with you. I am living through that stuckness with you. And in some way, I find comfort in that community. In some way, I find that that is truly one of the most enlightening, connecting things that I can hold up as a teacher. Makes me feel less alone. Even as the world around us shifts and changes and demands our attention, we're still here with our breath. We're still here evolving, shifting, changing, moving. And as you let that experience settle in, as you let this wave of movement, this moving of energy, this wave of emotional movement come over you, just begin to tune back into your breath. Notice that through this experience, through this wave of emotion, through this movement from stuck to emotional expression to perhaps a little bit of softening, a little bit of relief. Our breath has been with us through the entire practice. It's been right here, close to our heart, moving rhythmically in and out and reminding us that things are moving, that life is moving forward. Our bodies are healing, our minds are healing, our practice is evolving. And as you sit with your breath, imagine that breath like your favorite animal or your favorite partner or your favorite human that's just curled up with you. Comforting you, softening you to the experience, and moving you through and forward any of those sticky feelings. If you'd like to continue to remain in the same position you started in, feel free to. But if you're feeling a little bit like you want to slowly and mindfully unwind your legs, adjust your position if you're lying down, perhaps take a different seat like I have, feel free to go ahead and make those adjustments, make those moves. Notice how, as you move slowly and mindfully, notice what the sensation in your body is. And slowly start to deepen your breath. And as you deepen your breath, whatever shape you've chosen, go ahead and start to wiggle your fingertips. Maybe roll your wrists, tilt your head from side to side. Maybe roll the head around on the neck. Maybe revisit that shoulder shrug that we did at the beginning of class. And start to notice how your body feels in space. If it's feeling a little bit softer, feeling a little bit more mobile, feeling a little bit less stuck, just acknowledge that and welcome that unstuckness. Welcome that sensation. And if you want to continue to move, feel free to move. You can move into a yoga practice following this. You can move into sleep, whatever feels right for you in this moment. But either way, just gently bow your head towards your heart. Maybe bring your hands to heart center. Let those palms rest against one another and let your thumbs rest against your sternum. As you feel your sternum just slightly lift back up into your thumbs. And at that connection point where your thumbs and your chest meet, see if you can almost touch that little bit of gratitude that maybe has come up for you in this practice. I know that just sitting like this for a few minutes has moved something for me. And I am so grateful that it has. Sometimes when we feel stuck, we feel like we've lost our ability to forgive ourselves, forgive others, forgive the situation, forgive the universe. But this practice has given me just a little bit of hope, a little bit of movement, a little bit of unstuckness. All of the love and light in me bows to and honors all of the love and light in each one of you. Thank you so much for joining me for this meditation practice today. I hope to see you all soon on the mat. Namaste.